Here we are going to discuss looping. Loops or loops are also called iteration. Okay, so what loops mean and what iteration means? For example, suppose you are performing this task, you are coming this way like this, and at this point, a set of steps a set of steps, suppose these many steps, you need to repeat it again and again for a certain number of time like this. So what you are doing here, you came here straightforward like this, but at this point a number of statement you want to repeat it again and again, suppose 10 times, 15 times, 100 times, 1000 times, like that. So you are performing that. Okay, so you are doing repetition. So that repetition of action, if it is required, then we can do it or we can implement it in the form of loops or iteration. Okay, so what different types of loops are there in Python? First one is for loop. First one is for loop, and second one is while loop. Two types of loops are there in Python. One is for loop and one is while loop. Okay. So first of all, we will see for loop. What is for loop? So for loop. Okay. Before starting that, we have to understand that what different elements are there for a loop. So different elements of a loops are or an iteration are. We can have this. We can have this. We can say a point. Starting point, we can say. Then we can have this body of the loop. So, starting point indicates from where you have to start. Okay. Then body of the loop means all the statements inside the loop. All the statement inside the loop makes the body of the loop. Okay. Then we will have this destination, we can say, or finishing point, a starting point, and then finishing point where you have to go. Okay, so that will be the finishing point. And then fourth will be update, or we can say a step. What steps you need to follow? For example, suppose this is your starting point and this is your finishing point, means you have to start from here and you have to go to this point. Okay, so while going from here to here, what things you are doing, what things are you doing, that will become the body. Starting point is this one, starting point. This is finishing point. So you have to start from here and you have to reach here. Okay. So during that interval, means in between these 2 points, what you are doing, so that becomes body of the loop. That becomes body of the loop. Means what different actions you need to perform. Okay, that is there. Next thing is that uh, in order to reach to the destination from the starting point, what steps you are taking. Okay, means for example, suppose you have started here and you have to reach here. So steps are there like this. Steps are there. So how many steps you are taking? आप एक एक स्टेप करके बढ़ रहे हो या एक बार में 2 स्टेप जंप कर रहे हो या एक बार में 4 स्टेप जंप कर रहे हो, दैट इज द this update. So from starting to finishing, how you are reaching there, what steps you are taking to reach to the destination, that is the update expression. Okay, update, and every time we have to test also whether you have reached or not. After taking every step, you have to test whether you have reached your destination or not. Is it clear to all of you? What different elements are there in a loop? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is how we will be doing. So next now let us see for loop. So same thing we will be having there. So here for loop in Python, one we can use using a range function. A range function is there. So range function takes different values. Okay, it can have one value. We can write like this, range n. So if you are writing range n, Ankita and Kaushik Rai still they have not joined. So if you have written range n, so range n means what? Uh, Only one parameter we are giving. So by default it will start from 0 and it will go up to 0 to n minus 1. That you have to keep in mind. So when you are writing range n, so it will start from 0 and it will go up to n minus 1. Okay. Next you can write it like this, range x, y. So here now we have given two values, x and y. So it means that it will start from x and it will go up to y minus 1. x to y minus 1. ठीक है? Or you can use a range like this, m, n or s. Three values we have given. It doesn't matter x, y, and whatever value you can write. So this time I have written m, n and s, three steps. So it means that you have to start from m and you have to go up to n minus 1, and a step equal to s. Okay. So these three options are there with a range. You can have only one parameter. So if it is one parameter, then 0 to n minus 1. If you are giving two parameter, then it will start from x and it will go up to x minus y minus 1. And then you can give three parameter also. So first parameter indicates the starting point, second parameter indicates the finishing point, and third parameter indicates the steps. So if you are giving m, n and s, then it will start from m and it will go up to n minus 1 taking a step s. Okay, so that is how this range function works. So using range function, how can we write for loop? How can we write for loop? So we can write like this, for, and then here you have to give one control variable. Suppose I am giving x, and then you try in range, x in range, for x in range, and then here you have to give as per your requirement, either single parameter, two parameter, or three parameter, depends upon the situation you are working with. Okay, so suppose here I am giving 10, and then here you have to indicate this header column. So it indicates that now, because already I have told you that compound statements start with the header, so this will become header of for loop. And then after taking indentation, you have to write the body of the loop. Okay, so here you have started the loop, and then here you can write the things. So now what will happen? This is a block of statement. So all these block of statements are inside this for loop. So what will happen? All these statements are going to be executed till x belongs in this range. Till x belongs in this range, and x will start from 0 and it will go up to 10 minus 1, that is 9. So means 0 to 9. So 0 to 9, x for x values 0 to 9, these statements will be executed. For x values 0 to 9, these statements will be executed. Okay. So if anybody asks you that how many times these statements will execute. So what will be the answer? 0 to 9 means how many times? 10 times. So this loop is going to execute 10 times. Okay, means these actions will be repeated for 10 times. Is it okay? So now let us go.
Yes, sir.
Now let us go to this programming section, and there we will see the things. Okay. So I have already created this class 11 file. Where is class 11? Class 11. 11 no problem. Let us do here one. So for loop, we are going to learn for loop. So we can do like this. Now we are learning range, using range function, how we can write for loop. So suppose I'm writing first for loop for x in range. Suppose I'm giving 10. So here it will be this header. Then suppose you want to do print x. So what it will do? Automatically increment will be done, and inside this loop we are having only one statement, that is print x. Okay, so now if you are running it, then you see 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, all the values has been printed because I have given the task to print the value of x. So what is the value of x? That value will be printed here because I have given such type of task to it. Okay, so that is why it is printing like that. Okay, now we can do like this. Suppose we want to print the values from 5 to 10. 5 to 10. So our starting point is 5 and finishing point is 10, and we have to print 10 also. So our finishing point should be 11, because if you are giving 11, then only 10 will be printed, otherwise 10 will not be printed. Okay, so if you are running it now, then you see started from 5 and till 10 it is printing, because we have given finishing point 11. So finishing point will not touch. As soon as it reaches there, it will be terminated, the loop will be terminated. So 11 is our termination point, we can say. Okay, 11 is the termination point for this loop. Okay, so how many times this loop is executing? 1 2 3 4 5 6 times. And what it is doing? It is printing the current value of x. Okay, now suppose here I am giving 2. So now our starting point is 5, finishing point is 11. At 11 you have to finish. Then this is what? This is a step. Okay, this is the a step. So it will start from 5 and it will go up to 10, and it will take a step of 2. Okay, now if you are executing it, you can see we have got 5, we have got 7, we have got 9, and next number is what? 11. So 11 is the termination point, that's why we have not got this one. Okay, so this is how we can do. We can go downward also. For example, suppose you are writing, your starting point is suppose you have given 100, your starting point, and your finishing point is this. So if you are moving downward, then step should be minus. Here step must be given as minus, because you are moving from a higher value to lower value. So by default, if you are not giving a step, then what will happen? It will not execute. Okay, because when you are moving downward, then you have to give minus step. Okay, so if you are running it, then you can see we have started from 100 and we are getting up to 91, because 90 is the finishing point, so 90 will not be part of your this. Okay, 90 will not be part of your result. Okay, as soon as it reaches 90, it will terminate. Okay, so this is how we perform looping using range function. Now,
Sir,
bolo.
sir, only three variable are possible, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. starting point, finishing point, and steps. Okay. Now let us perform some examples, programming exercise. For example, suppose you are asked to write a program to print sum of natural numbers, natural numbers, uh, natural number up to 50. So what natural numbers are? Starting from 1, and we have to print sum of natural numbers up to 50. So you have got the for loop. So you can use this for loop to print the sum of, calculate the sum of natural number up to 50 or up to n number, whatever values is there, that depends. So suppose we want to do this one. So we have to take one variable in which we will store some value. So let us have one value s, and its value is, initial value is 0. Now what we will be doing? We have to start from 1 and we have to go up to 50. We have to take up to 50. So our for loop should be what? We can write like this: for x in range. For x in range, we can write like this: 1. Even if you are not writing, then also no problem will be there, because if you are adding 0 to any number, the result will have not any effect. So okay, no problem. Here we are starting from 1 and we have to take up to 50, so our finishing point should be 51, and no steps are required because by default steps value is 1. By default steps value is 1. So if you are not mentioning a step, then by default it will be taken as 1. Okay, so we do not need to mention the steps here. Now do this one, then come inside the loop. Here what we have to do, here this x will start from 1 and it will go up to 50. So what we have to do, x will take value 1, then it will take 2, then it will take 3, like that it will move up to 50. And as soon as x becomes 51, the loop will be terminated. So for every value of x, what we have to do, we have to pick that value, we have to catch that value, and we have to add that value to s. Okay, so that is what we will be doing inside the loop, because that action is need to be repeated for every value of x. Adding that value in s has to be repeated. So what we need to repeat, that must belong to loop, that must be inside the loop. So that repetition is required, addition of the value is required every time. So we will be keeping that inside the loop. So we will be writing like this: s equal to the earlier value of s plus the current value of x. Got this one, all of you? S equal to s plus x. So s will start from 0. So initial value of s is 0. So first value of x is 1. So what will happen for the first time? S equal to s plus x. So 0 plus 1. So s will become 1. Next time what will happen? S plus x. So 1 plus current value of x is 2. So 1 plus 2, that is 3. So s will become 3. Next time what will happen? S, that is 3 plus current value of x is 3. So 3 plus 3. So s will become 6. And this is how it will go up to 50, and all the value of x will be added to s, and finally we will got the value of s, sum. Okay, so this is what we need to do. Okay, now what, we have to print the value of s. We have to print the value of s. So here you can write print the sum is equal to, here you can write sum is stored in s. So that is what we can write here. Now let us run it. So if you are adding value from 1 to 50, then you are going to get this one. Okay, so now here once again here you see This initialization of s is required one time. That's why we are keeping it out of the loop. Then this action adding every value of x to s is required every time. That's why we are keeping it inside the loop. But ultimate value of s we need to print one time. The final value of s we need to print it one time. That's why we are keeping this statement out of the loop. So how many statements are there inside the loop? Only one statement, this one, because this action has to be repeated. That's why we are keeping it inside the loop. This we do not need to repeat again and again, because we have to calculate the value of s, and then finally we have to print the final value of s. So we are printing it one time. That's why we are not keeping it inside the loop. Okay, if you are keeping it inside the loop, then what will happen? If you are keeping inside the loop, then what will happen? Let us run it. See, the finally we have got this one. Started summing, 1 has been added, then 2 has been added, then 3 has been added, then 4 has been added, then 5 has been added, then 6 has been added, like this up to 50. All the values have been, here are 12, 25, and then we have added 50 to it, then it becomes 1275. Okay, so this is how, means you have to decide which statement we need to keep inside the loop and which statement we do not need to keep inside the loop. Okay, so that is what you have to decide. Okay, so this is how we can do that. Let us take another example. Write a program to print square, yeah, square of natural number up to n, and also print the sum of square. I hope you have got the question. Multi-line comments I am making. So this time what we have to do, we have to take the limit from the user, n we have to take from the user, and then what we have to do, we have to print the square of all the numbers, and also we have to calculate sum of squares of all the numbers. So these three things we have to perform. So first let us take the value from the user, n equal to int input enter value for n. That we have done. We have taken the value of n. Now what we have to do, we have to start the loop. But before that, let us initialize the value of s. So s is 0. Then start the loop for I in range, because we have to take up to n. We have to take up to n, so our range should be n plus 1. While writing the range, you have to be very careful. Up to where you have to go. So accordingly, you have to set the range. Okay. So we need to go from up to n. So and our starting point is 1 here. So 1 to n plus 1, and every step, every number we have to touch. That's why we are not giving here a step. Okay. That is what we have to do. Now what we have to do, it is asking to print the square of all the numbers, all the natural numbers. So we will be printing that. Print where the number is, in every step, where the number is in I, number is present in I, so we will be printing I into I. I represent that number. I is starting from 1 and it is going up to n. So for every value of I, we will be printing its a square. So we will be printing I into I. Next, what we have to do? We have to do S equal to S plus I into I. We have to calculate the sum of a square of these numbers also. So that's why we are calculating here. Here we calculated sum of simple number. That time our variable was x. This time I have taken I. We can take any variable. This is called control variable. So control variable means what? It is going to control the loop. The loop depends upon this value. It is the controlling variable. Okay. I is starting from 1 and it is going up to n. Okay. So every values a square we need to add in s. That's why that is what we have done here. Okay. And at the end of the program, we need to print the value of sum also. So this printing will be done only one time. This printing we have to repeat because every number's square we have to print. That's why we have kept it inside the loop. But printing of the sum of their square we need to perform only one time. That's why we are keeping this statement out of the loop. Okay. So here we will be writing print the required sum is equal to, and where the sum is stored in S. Okay. So this is how we can write. Now let us run it. So enter value of n. So suppose we want to do up to 5. So here you see 1 square 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16 and 5 square is 15. That is why we have got these things, and if you are adding all of them, then you will get 55. So this is how. Next time let us run it, and this time suppose I am giving 10. So up to 10 all the numbers square has been printed, and then if you are adding them, then you will be getting 385. Okay, so this is how for loop can be used. And this loop controls only what? It controls the means how many times that particular action can be performed. You can do like this also. For example, suppose for you are writing for I in range, suppose 10, and here you are writing print we are learning for loop. We are learning for loop. So because this statement we have kept inside the loop, so what will happen? This statement will be repeated 10 times, 0 to 9, 10 times it will be repeated, and this printing will be done 10 times. So if you are running like this, then it will be getting like this. So what you want to do, that depends upon you. But how many times, if you have to repeat the action, then you have to work with a loop. You have to work with a loop. Okay. So that is how for loop can be used using range function. There is another way to using for loop. Let us see that one also. So for loop you can use on a sequence also. Using for loop, using for loop on a sequence. So that sequence can be string, it can be list, it can be tuple, it can be dictionary, any values can be there. Okay. After that, after this chapter, we will be taking all these things. So if you are having a sequence like a string, list, tuple, or dictionary, then on that how the for loop can be used. So here these are called iterator. These are called iterator. Okay, sequence because iteration can be done on them. Okay, so simply in that case, simply you have to write for here you can take control variable, so that will control that. Here it will become element in So this element is what? This element is one element in that list or string or that thing. Okay. So this element, if you are working with a string, then this element will become what? It will become a character. If you are working with a list, then this element will the one item of in the list. Or if you are working with a tuple, then it will also be an item. If you are working with a dictionary, then also it will become a item in the collection. Okay, so that is how it works for element in sequence. What you want to do, that you have to write here. So let us check it. Let us check it. Suppose you are having a list. So list is indicated like this. Uh, LST, suppose I am writing LST. LST means suppose it is a variable and we are taking it for a list. And suppose we are having a list of elements like this. Like this, A, then we are having B, then we are having C, then we are having D. What is that? Then suppose we are having E. These elements are there. So we are having a list, and this list is having different elements. These are called elements. So one element, two, three, four, five. Altogether 5 elements are there. And what these elements are? A, B, C, D, E. So this is a list of elements, and the elements are simple alphabets. Okay. So if you want to perform for loop on this list, that can also be performed, because suppose you want to print all the element, print all the items of the list using for loop. You have to print all the elements of the loop using for loop. Okay, so simply here you can write what syntax I told you. You have to start with word for, then that will be control variable. So that will become control variable, and that control variable indicates one item in the list or in the sequence. Okay, so that can be taken any value, any variable. So suppose I am taking this, I am writing item. You can write any other thing also. For item in the sequence. So what is our sequence? Our sequence is LST. So for item in sequence, I want to print all the items. So simply here you have to write print item. Print item. Okay. So this item now, this item represents these items. First of all, it will come A, item value will become A, then item value will become B, then item will become C, then item will become D, then item will become E. Now with these values of item, what we are doing? We are printing them. Whatever the value of item is there, that we are printing simply. That is what we are doing here. Okay. So if you are running it, you see we have got all the elements. So this is another way we will be using for loop. Okay.